Yet again, hi everyone, invite back for another video. Trust you're all getting along nicely and that you're all having a totally fabulous day. And with next to no further ado, we should bounce directly into it. I just punched myself in the hand. Don't have the foggiest idea why I did that. How about we hop directly into it? The most recent few weeks have sort of been a figuring out who claims what news inside the digital currency space. A ton of organizations have been recording with the SEC to tell the SEC the amount Bitcoin that they have. A portion of the more striking ones are we heard that there were, I think, 1,500 organizations in the U.S. that have more than $100 million worth of Bitcoin. There are various national banks who additionally reported that they have Bitcoin. I don't recalls. There's been a ton. You need to watch different recordings. It's essentially been day-to-day news about this far-reaching gathering. So presently we have even fresher information from a Bitcoin financier firm called Stream Just Waterway. They've uncovered that the biggest U.S. flexible investments have joined to collect Bitcoin in the billions of dollars as trade exchange reserve partakes in another string on Twitter. Waterway says that despite the fact that Bitcoin's market cap is generally little, I'll get into that in a moment, a considerable lot of the biggest flexible investments in the U.S. as of now have critical openness to Bitcoin. The possibility of Bitcoin having a little market cap, I realize you heard that, and you sort of feigned exacerbation on the grounds that Bitcoin has a market cap more than $1 trillion. It is more about the more extensive perspective on all of this. So when you discuss the possibility of $1 million Bitcoin or a multi-million Bitcoin, it has to do with the expected measure of all-out cash in the world. So assuming that you look on the web and you consider the M1 cash supply, M2 and M3 individuals, except that there are truly quadrillions of dollars comparable, you are aware of the multitude of monetary standards changed over into US dollars, quadrillions of dollars worth of cash truly streaming around out there, and that cash sooner or later will start to stream into Bitcoin, and that is the way you get these insane big numbers. We heard from the chief from Wave as of late, and Kathy, with the two of them express this about a month prior. This is where their quantities of $1 trillion market cap come from. It's fundamentally more cash streaming into our market, totally legitimate. So even the possibility that, despite the fact that we have a little market feline individuals are here, is gibberish. No, they realize that the market cap will keep going up, so the multifaceted investments in the foundation get in as soon as conceivable. How could you hold on until the cost is 15x from where it is correct now, when you could amass when the cost is low? And you have billions of individuals who are not focusing on all the uplifting news that we continue to get each and every day. Stream said, and I quote, 12 of the biggest 25 US speculative stock investments all in all have more than $2.6 billion of Bitcoin ETF openness. 11 of the biggest 25 enlisted venture councils or RAS likewise have openness, all while Bitcoin is only $1 trillion resource class. I won't bluster, I won't rave yet. Obviously the world has changed, things are altogether different. We are in something else altogether right now. My expectations for various quite a while back are quickly materializing. It is unmistakable sun outside. No miss that Bitcoin will be a resource for the rich as well as will be claimed by the richest individuals on earth, as we see the degrees of gathering that we are continually catching wind of and the value developments and where we will be, and regardless of whether we stay at similar levels of an aggregation, we will numerically eventually have 1 million Bitcoin, and these organizations and establishments and banks and family workplaces and multifaceted investments are purchasing a gigantic part of it. So as anticipated, there will be a point in the future where individuals, you realize, will just have 50,000, 25,000 Satoshi to their name, and that will then, at that point, obviously likewise be later on a lot of cash consistently each and every day. Each video we've been getting news like this, and definitely I very much like ensuring that everybody's mindful of what's going on directly before them, since I think the greater part are not focusing still, no doubt. That is the continuation of all the news that we've been moving past the course of the most recent few weeks about how much cash streaming into the space, and presently we're finding out about multifaceted investments and RAS 2, and better believe it. How about we continue on likewise? In the news, financial backers pulled out Bitcoin from unified trades over the most recent 7 days. 27,975 Bitcoin left the 20 trades, followed by the information stage known as mint piece glass, generally around $1.9 billion at the hour of composing. Coinbase Genius saw the most surges with 15,000 Bitcoin leaving. Binance came in second with 7,600 Bitcoin leaving the trade. For those of you who don't realize, it is viewed as something excellent that these mint pieces get removed from trades. Assuming you were here a long time back, you know that currencies going into a trade is, as a rule in the news, as something hyper-pessimistic. It doesn't actually need to be. It tends to be basically individuals moving their mint pieces around. Yet a ton of the story rotates around assuming that individuals are putting their currencies on trades. It implies that they're hoping to sell them, which isn't typically the situation anyway. Ever it winds up making the news and like that. So when individuals remove their mint pieces from a trade, it implies they have zero desire to sell, and subsequently there's less Bitcoin than there was before on trades, and Bitcoin's cost goes up. That is one of the thoughts. Yet there's dependably Bitcoin being removed from trades. There are a ton of where do you think this Bitcoin is coming from? It's from you realize they're utilized to be a great many Bitcoin on trades, and presently there's less and less. Indeed, a ton of times these are likewise whales doing these developments. The whales comprehend that they can keep their mint pieces on a trade to give the deception of less interest, and afterward eventually we wind up getting news that a colossal $185 million development of mint pieces occurred, and it comes from precisely the same location who put those mint pieces on there. No doubt about it. Little control wizardry, assuming you will definitely. Those are whales are removing their currencies from trades as experts are continually shouting that we are moving towards a $100,000 in addition to Bitcoin inside the following a long time. Definitely we should continue on. Likewise in the news, Pine Edge Guides, a New York-based enrolled venture Advis, or RA, has distributed $25 million into spot Bitcoin ETFs. These assets incorporate Darkstone Loyalty and Bitwise, the previously mentioned designation addresses. 23% of their resources under administration. Commonly you catch wind of venture portfolios dispensing around 1% portion of a for every occasionally 2% to a specific resource class. That is the meaning of the numbers half 1 and 2, since you could recollect various a long time back when individuals were declaring that they were taking a gander at the cryptographic money space. We continued to get news that these organizations were designating 0.5% into stuff. And that is the point at which we additionally got the news that spilled about Darkstone about a year prior, 18 months prior as of now, where the news that spilled was that they were educating a number concerning their clients to put except it was 20% in addition to of their cash into Bitcoin, which currently checks out in light of the fact that Bitcoin was around what was it, $220,000. So any organization who paid attention to them would have brought in triple their cash. So I surmise that all sort of totally plays out for reasons unknown. We're constantly getting a ton of huge organizations placing cash into the space. News the last 12 recordings have all sort of had precisely the same subject of enormous organizations placing their cash into the space. Banks purchasing Bitcoin, national banks purchasing Bitcoin, speculative stock investments purchasing Bitcoin, family workplaces purchasing Bitcoin, RAs purchasing Bitcoin. What was the other one that we just had too? I don't recollect. It was something around $10 billion across an extremely thin number of organizations had been placed into Bitcoin ETFs too. It's not shocking. It's simply more how our market is at this moment, and better believe it once you realize I'm doing great, not fuming, not raving, not tossing my arms out of sight, since individuals will get it regardless of what I say, regardless of what I do, regardless of how I act, regardless of what the circumstance may be. For individuals in the back who actually still are not listening, when we get to a portion of $1 million, when we get to $1 million Bitcoin, I simply believe that everybody should recall these minutes, like super recall it. So you go, obviously Bitcoin planned to go to $1 million. Obviously there wasn't much of Bitcoin passed on, no doubt. Simply need